I don't know where to begin, but I guess there's no easy way to say this. This is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. I'm 30 years old. I work from home as a software developer.
My wife, Emily, is 28. She's very beautiful.
She's a hair and makeup artist. She's incredibly talented at what she does. She mostly works with brides and bridal parties, but over the last couple of years, her career has really taken off. A lot of that success is thanks to John, who owns a really popular local wedding venue. John has been a huge connection for her. Through him, she's gotten work with photographers, local advertising agencies, and even a few small modeling gigs. She's even modeled in some local ads herself. John's in his 40s, married with 3 kids, and his wife is very pretty for a mom of 3. I guess I get it though, my wife is younger and way better looking. Our marriage has been great as far as I know. Emily and I have been together since high school. We're still best friends. We have regular date nights, an active and exciting sex life, and she's always been thoughtful and caring. I never doubted her love for me. That's why this blindsided me. A week ago, I was working from home and I heard an email notification from my wife's laptop which was plugged in for charging. She had logged into it before going to the gym and she doesn't like her computer locking automatically when she leaves it alone. She forgot to lock it before leaving it. I saw the email preview notification from John and it looked fishy, so I opened it. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't even sexual. It was logistical. A time, a place, and some comment about keeping things discreet. But it was the last line that floored me. You're incredible.
You can't stop thinking about last night.
I thought about last night. She came home late, said she'd had a long shoot with a photographer, and we had dinner together like everything was fine.
Normal.
I scrolled back through her messages and emails. Most of it was mundane, work-related, professional, but sprinkled throughout were little hints, things that didn't sit right. John saying she looked beyond stunning at an event. Emily thanking him, but keeping it neutral.
Nothing about love. Nothing about feelings.
But it was clear something was happening. Then I read an email about booking a hotel for them both in town. It said it was the usual place. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I started panicking about it and went online, looking for information about cheating. I read about the red flags and thought about the ones she showed. Emily's work schedule had gotten a bit more unpredictable over the last few months. She'd started dressing up more, new outfits, sexy underwear, even on days when she said she was just running errands. She was grooming more down there. But I thought she was doing it for me. There were nights when she came home later than usual, blaming long shoots or last-minute bridal emergencies. But she never seemed distant. She never pulled away from me. If anything, she was more attentive, initiating sex more often, planning surprise date nights, and constantly telling me how much she loved me. That's the part that stings the most. I didn't feel like I was losing her. I felt like we were closer than ever. I started paying closer attention. Later I was snooping around the house on the pretext of cleaning, and I found a small jewelry box tucked into one of her makeup drawers. Inside was a necklace, simple but expensive looking. I hadn't bought it for her. When I asked about it casually later, she said it was a gift from a client. I didn't question it at the time. It seemed plausible. She works with high-end brides all the time, and clients giving her gifts isn't unheard of. But now, I couldn't get the image of that necklace out of my mind. I also started noticing other things. The new clothes and underwear, the grooming, little shifts in her behavior that seemed harmless on the surface but now felt suspicious. I've been copying the messages to my computer and torturing myself by going over and over them. It goes back about a year, which is when her hair and makeup business started booming. Here's the thing. I don't think Emily loves John. I've read through the messages, and while he's clearly infatuated with her, she keeps him at arm's length emotionally. There's no, I miss you, or I love you. Just logistics, compliments, and occasional thanks. One time she even wrote, "Haha, go tell that to your wife." But it doesn't matter. She's sleeping with him.
He's lying to me.
And I don't know how to process that. I haven't confronted her yet. I don't even know how to start that conversation. I keep telling myself I need more proof, but maybe I'm just delaying the inevitable. All I know is that the woman I thought I knew, the woman I married, seems to be fucking another guy. If I confront her, She's going to deny it either way, right? I know I should probably just sit down and talk with her, but then that would clue her in, right? I googled it and we live in an at-fault state. We don't have kids. So if I divorce and I have proof of her cheating, she won't get any spousal support. Also, couldn't she just make up terrible shit that I did to her in order to control the narrative with our families? I mean, I don't think she'd do that, but I didn't think she'd cheat on me either. It's late and I'm drunk. I'll check out what Reddit has to say about it, but I just want to go pass out and hear any recommendations from people who have been through this. I mean, it doesn't seem like she loves him, but does that even matter at this point if she's cheating on me? Update 1. Since my first post, I did a lot of reading on Reddit and other forums about how to spot and catch cheaters. Her phone is password protected and I don't know the password. She's also pretty good about locking her computer, and it was just a fluke that I was able to catch it before. So I knew I needed to get evidence. The following is not my idea. This is all advice I got by obsessively reading Reddit stories and comments, as well as other forums. I ordered some cameras off of the internet that look like smoke detectors. I convinced Emily that our home insurance would go down if I put smoke detectors in every room. I ordered a book off of the same site called How to Be a Great Husband. Discover the secrets to a happy marriage without changing your wife, and I left it around for her to see. She did, and I could tell it made her uncomfortable. I got a GPS tracker and a voice-activated recorder, VAR, along with some strong Velcro for putting it under her driver's seat. Unfortunately, you have to subscribe to a service to use the tracker, but I figure I won't be subscribed to it very long. Now, this has all been happening from when I first became suspicious until now. Just a couple of days ago, January 20th, is when I finally got everything set up. When I got the VAR, I tested it by hiding it in the table centerpiece, and I sat Emily down and asked her questions. Honey, I'm doing a personal inventory to try to be a better husband and partner. To that end, I wanted to ask you some serious questions, and I want some serious answers. Do you feel I have ever abused you in our marriage? Do you feel I've ever cheated on you in our marriage? Is there anything you feel I could do to improve myself as a husband? Again, I ripped this off of a comment I read on a cheating story on Reddit. I didn't come up with this. To the first question, she said no, of course not. To the second, she seemed reluctant but answered no. To the third one, she said she wished we made love more. We've fallen off quite a lot since I got suspicious for obvious reasons, but I tried to initiate a couple of times just to keep her complacent. My heart's not in it when we do it, and I think she can tell. I asked these questions so that she couldn't make up stuff about me abusing her or cheating on her later on. I don't think she would make up lies about me, but I didn't think she'd cheat on me either, so I don't know the woman anymore.
Devargote tchol.
I transferred the recording to the cloud. I put electrical tape over the display of the VAR so there wouldn't be a glow under her seat at night, and I plugged some cheap wired earbuds into the jack on the VAR and then snipped it off of the plug so that the VAR wouldn't make any noise. Again, I got all of this info off of reading subreddits and forums. I didn't come up with this.
Rolling back the clock to Christmas.
On Christmas, we spent even day with her family. It was their turn. Her sister was there with her husband and kid as well as her parents. We were at her parents' house. It was just an hour away.
My parents live a couple of states over.
Christmas Eve day, she got a gift bag delivered to her. I didn't see who dropped it off. My MIL said it was some teenager. The gift bag said, "To Emily from Santa." At first she thought it was from me, I think. I assured her it wasn't. It was a gold bracelet. Apparently it was pretty nice. Her mom and sister oohed and awed over it. When asked where it came from, she said it probably came from a bridal party that was getting married on the 28th who wanted to reward her for giving a group discount and doing it last minute. She told us that they said she should expect a bonus. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I nodded my head. Mel and FL sort of followed my lead like it was no big deal. Let me be clear that I knew it was from John. The bridal party would have signed their names, not wrote, from Santa. Emily must think I'm special needs to fall for that. I just got angry in the moment that she had that little respect for me, so I excused myself to the restroom. Later on I saw her in the backyard on her phone. She seemed angry and was gesturing wildly. I figure she was reading John the Riot Act for almost exposing their affair. New Year's. She had the wedding on the 28th and was working with another bride for a wedding on the 4th. Whenever her phone would go off, I'd wonder if it was him. On New Year's Eve during the day, she got more buzzes and dings on her phone than normal. She would look at them annoyed. I asked her what the problem is, and she said the bride getting married on the 4th is a real bridezilla. That night she said she had to step out to go meet with bridezilla. She told me she'd be back in time to kiss me at the countdown. She came back at around 1:30 a.m. She was crying, sobbing actually, going straight to the bathroom and coming out 10 minutes later. I told her to calm down and asked her what the problem was. She said she was so sorry. I asked why she was sorry. She said because I missed the NYE countdown. I told her she was entirely too upset for it to be just that, but she assured me it was. She even held my face between her hands and stared at me and told me she loved me. I asked her if she had anything else to tell me. She assured me that she didn't. I asked her point blank then if she cheated on me. She swore up and down that she didn't and that she was upset because she missed the countdown because since we have been married we always kissed each other when the clock struck midnight. I gave her every opportunity to come clean and she still lied to me. Since then, I got the cameras and the other stuff and installed it all. Now I'm going to wait to get more tangible evidence as well as start consulting divorce attorneys. I expect it will be a while before I update again. I'll be hanging out on Reddit though. This place is addicting. Edit. Trying to head off comments. Getting real undeniable proof is important because my family loves Emily. They think of her like a daughter. In her family, she's the golden child who can do no wrong. If she told them I was abusive or a cheater, her family would believe her. My family would probably take my side, but they'd definitely interrogate me to make sure I didn't abuse her. Update 2. Personal note. I didn't think this would blow up like it has after the original post was buried and overlooked. Thank you for all your advice and for the personal stories and experiences you have private messaged me. I'm sorry I haven't been able to respond to you all. Let me say that I'm not really interested in joining any cause. All you need to do is have a cursory look at the relationship subs and you'll see there are just as many women heartbroken by infidelity as men, maybe more even. It's not a sexist issue. It's an issue of low character and morality. Having low character and morality has nothing to do with your gonads. I have had both heartbroken men and heartbroken women PM me their stories, and I see very clearly that this issue is not delineated by sex.
If you don't believe this is real, you don't know what to tell you.
Sorry.
Please block me and ignore me if it's saboteur.
I checked the VAR recordings from Emily's car and I got some info. There was the usual business and personal calls. And some Taylor Swift sing-alongs. The first call of note was with John. Apparently she had not talked to him since NYE. She was angry with him for sending the gift at Christmas and keeping her late at NYE. John was dismissive and cocky at first. Emily then told him about how I asked her if she was cheating on me during NYE. That got John's attention and he was asking all kinds of questions. He seemed really interested if I had mentioned him by name at all. I didn't. He said he thought she was handling me. He told her that they should be safe if she has always used the card. She said she did. He asked her if she wanted to meet and she started crying. She told him that the relationship has stopped being fun for her and that they should stop and she wasn't going to lose her marriage over this. Too late, honey. He told her that she should just keep lying to me. He seemed really worried about his wife finding out. She will, asshole. He told her not to call him again on his phone and that they'll talk the next time they meet. He also told her to be sure and delete everything off her phone and computer. She said she already had. Her next call was to her BFF, Bev. Bev knows about the affair and my wife was crying. Emily told Bev about NYE and that she thinks I suspect something, and Bev told her to keep lying to me but also told her she should probably end her affair because I would definitely divorce her if I find out or if she confesses. Ding ding ding.
Bev knows me so well.
Emily said she is in the process of ending her affair with John. I always considered Bev a mutual friend.
I've met her husband.
We've been out on couples dates. He's going to get a message from me outlining his wife's liberal views on infidelity as well as a link to the recording of her phone call. I'll check with my lawyer first. Interested in both men and women's views on this. How would you feel if you knew your spouse was actively encouraging their friend to hide their infidelity and talking about how it is with their cheating friend?
Should be pissed at her?
I did some web searching and anonymous asking around on social media and, on the advice of stuff I got here on Reddit, met with what I think are the 3 best family law attorneys in my area. I had official consultations with them. I did this so that 2 of them wouldn't be able to take my wife's case because of conflict of interest. What they didn't tell me in those Reddit comments/posts is that the really good family law attorneys don't do free consultations. They charge you for them and then some pro rate that charge towards your bill if you select them to represent you. So I ended up spending $1,600 for all that. Just FYI.
I'm not super rich.
We have a lot of money saved up, but I don't want to tip her off by touching that. My wife's business is doing really well, but she has the "what's mine is mine and what's yours is ours" attitude when it comes to paychecks, and I didn't mind until now. I make 6 figures as a senior developer and we don't have a mortgage or rent payment. When my mom died, my dad moved down to Florida to the Villages. He lets us stay in his house rent-free. It's already paid for. I say this because my dad is taking out a HELOC on the home to help me pay for the divorce attorney. A really good divorce attorney is very expensive, I've learned. The plan is to refinance it in my name after the divorce is over. Meanwhile, I'll be making the payments by writing checks to my dad. The HELOC is still pending, so I'm paying with a credit card I took out for this occasion. I'm pretty much certain my credit score will be shot to hell after this. I talked to my divorce attorney and gave her the recordings, and she said it was good evidence. I told her about how Emily is ending it with John and about the card John mentioned. She told me to take a picture of the card if I can find it and send it to her. I asked her if it was legal to do that, and she said yes because it's accessible within shared marital property. She's going to subpoena the card statements. As far as Emily ending it with John goes, my lawyer said maybe but don't count on it. My attorney also told me the same thing y'all told me, and that's I need to hire a PI. She told me she had a good one. I told her I already had all this evidence, and she said that evidence and testimony from a PI carry more weight with the court because a PI knows how to get admissible evidence legally and is impartial. She told me her goal is to get enough evidence so that any attorney my wife got would settle rather than go to trial because she'd subpoena John and John would be exposed too. She told me she wouldn't be surprised if John paid for my wife's attorney, which would be a dumb idea for her because that attorney would mainly have John's best interests in mind. But, since he's paying for everything else, she'd probably go for it. I'll be meeting with the PI on Monday. Meanwhile, Emily is love-bombing me. She's telling me how great I am and how much she appreciates me and how lucky she is. She's talking about starting a family before she's 30. Not with me, you're not. She wants us to go on a long romantic trip that she's planning on paying for with her money, with John's card probably. I want to scream at her and tell her I'd rather slam my dick in a car door, but I have to keep playing nice for now.
Fuck this shit, man. I can't believe this is my goddamn life now.
I want to hug her and kiss her and make love with her again, but then I remember her mouth was around that asshole's junk. He completed in her mouth and she came home and kissed me with it. I had sloppy seconds for 9 months. But she loves me. I love her and I hate her.
I'm walking cognitive dissonance.
My attorney told me to get into counseling. I will. I think I need to. I just want to run away from her and towards her at the same time. Does that sound stupid?
Ain't going crazy.
Update 3. I got an STI test a couple weeks ago. It's negative, but my doctor gave me the HPV vaccine because it wouldn't be detected by the tests. He said if I've been exposed, it could take years to show up. So he told me to check my dick for warts for the next several years.
So good news, you have a new hobby now.
It turns out that in my state you can't record someone one-sidedly unless you are involved in the conversation. So the conversations between Emily and Bev and Emily and John are illegal and I broke the law. Since I have attorney-client privilege, and she's the only one I sent them to, I'm good. But I have to delete them. The emails I downloaded are still evidence though, so we have good evidence there. I suppose the recordings serve their purpose in that I know for sure about the affair. On the advice of my attorney, I hired the PI she suggested. I gave him the info for the GPS tracker on Emily's car. He said that after hearing my story, including details I didn't share here, he decided he was going to follow John rather than my wife. It didn't make sense to me at the time, but he said that it sounded like John was more into my wife than she was with him. So John would probably be the one initiating contact rather than Emily. I figured, oh well, he's the pro, not me. He assured me that he's seen cases like mine before where the spouse was not serious but just looking for some fun on the side, and because of the withholding of attention, it causes the AP to double down on the relationship and pursue more. He said women don't like needy men and men don't like needy mistresses. Makes sense. On the sage advice of all of you, and my lawyer, I stopped having sex with Emily. I told her there were layoffs coming at work and I was really anxious and not in the mood. I don't know why, but she seemed really frustrated by that. It's been difficult living with her and pretending. John and I get the same treatment. Well, I guess he got slightly better treatment for a while. But I'm the lucky one because I get to hear the sound, "I love you," bounce off of my eardrums from that hole in the middle of her face, and John doesn't. #blessed. It used to mean so much to me to hear that. I'm so goddamn angry that she's made me hate her like this.
You want to love her again so badly.
My therapist says the technical term is ambivalence. Thinking about it makes me want to vomit.
Valentine's Day.
The PI said John left flowers and a gift at my wife's salon. The PI said when Emily came to work and saw it, she threw everything in the shared dumpster in the strip mall without even looking at it. She was pissed. My PI retrieved the gifts. It was really expensive lingerie and a dozen red roses. The gift had a Valentine's Day card, the flowers had a message note too, and there was definite proof in that note and card of the affair. They were practically love letters. Emily left the other girls at the salon and went to meet up with John.
Bigote tchau.
They met in a far corner of a hotel parking lot. The whole thing took around 45 minutes. It was an intense conversation. The PI said Emily seemed angry and shook her head no a lot. He said he thought John was trying to coax her into a room. Lots of touching. Nothing overtly sexual happened, but the PI said he's seen cases one with less and that their body language, behavior, and the way it panned out is the kind of thing judges look for in adultery cases. It was obvious that they had a relationship. It was at that time that I got a weird, "I love you" phone call from Emily. I remember her voice was off. It was like she was trying to check in on me. My attorney advised me to photos of Emily's appointment book for the last year or so. Emily likes using a physical calendar book to write everything down. I noticed there are appointments with John in the book too. Before, I would have just thought of them as business meetings because Emily said John was mentoring her in small business stuff. I found a Mont Blanc pen in her purse near the appointment book. I guess that's another gift from John because I sure as hell didn't buy it for her and she always just used BIC pens before. Emily was busy with work the rest of the day and night on Valentine's Day as she had a bunch of ladies who wanted to get specially made up for Valentine's Day dates with their spouses/boyfriends. Anyway, she worked as usual on Valentine's Day. She came home tired, half-heartedly tried to initiate something, but I just pampered her because she seemed exhausted and so I put her to bed. I didn't pamper her for her sake.
E did it for me.
I wanted to be a good husband so she'd somehow miss me more when I'm gone. I wanted to prove to myself that I'm not worth cheating on. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm love bombing her in return in my own way. Is this the pick me dance? Because I don't want her to pick me. I can't decide if I'm doing it so that it hurts her more when I'm gone or because I know I'll miss moments like these when I leave her for the last time. The good news in this zombie shitshow that my marriage has become is that the parking lot meeting and the Valentine's Day gifts were enough that, when added to the other evidence, we can finally have Emily served. We're going to have it done privately with the PI. He's also a process server and can get it done quickly. It was probably a mistake accusing her of cheating on NYE. Emily knows that something's wrong.
She's staring at me a lot.
I can see it in my peripheral vision. It would be creepy if it weren't so pitiful. She keeps asking for some kind of reassurance that we're doing good, since we're not making love anymore. I keep lying to her, but I guess I'm not the great Shakespearean actor I thought I was. I just can't get over this betrayal.
I wish I could.
But I can't and I never ever will. It doesn't matter that she didn't love the guy. She had his junk in her and had her mouth on it and came home and kissed me with that mouth. For 9 months. I just hate myself for going back to her. I'd further hate myself for treating her badly because of jealousy and resentment. No one deserves being treated like a convicted felon for the rest of their lives by their spouse. Would any reasonable person want to live like that? Would that be enough for anyone? Should I be resigned to a life of policing Emily and keeping her under lock and key until she resents and hates me later on and probably cheats on me again? Either that or I'll be an emotionally dead zombie who says, "Yes, dear," while stamping down my emotions and anxiety every time she walks out the front door. Who would love someone like that?
I'm not going to live like that.
I love who I thought she was too much to let her live like that. That's why I'm going to ghost Emily when she gets served. The plan is to have her publicly served, to start the process of having John's credit card statement subpoenaed. Lawyer says it could take months for this to pan out. Tell Bev's husband about her complicity in Emily's affair, and to email/text Emily's dad and sister, John's wife, and some mutual friends with the news. I'll pack and leave before she regains her footing after being served with divorce papers. I plan on leaving a short note, my lawyer's business card, and my wedding ring. My lawyer told me to leave a note so she doesn't have an excuse to start making trouble. I was thinking about writing, "Do you like rich sugar daddies?"
Yes, underlines, underline, no underline, underline, underline.
My therapist says I use humor as a coping mechanism. I know I won't do that though. I'll either write this long manifesto or something super short. Another infidelity poster on here wrote to her cheating, so I know.
Bye.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
E know myself.
I know that Emily at least thinks she loves me, whatever that is. I know she'll beg and plead and cry and appeal to me in every possible way. Our history, our families, our plans, everything. She'll dress up and make herself look stunning. She'll pull out all of the stops and I'll cave. I'm not ghosting her because I'm strong. I'm ghosting her because I'm weak. I used to think it would hurt worse if she had actually fallen in love with him. But now, that would have been easier. If she didn't want me, at least I'd have my answer. Instead, she wants me, but she's already broken us beyond repair.
Tá divorce. I won't update after it all goes down.
Should only be a few days. Brief update. Emily is going to be served at her salon tomorrow morning. Fridays and Saturdays are busier for her, so she opens earlier. The PI is meeting me at my hotel in the afternoon to show me the body cam footage. He asked if I wanted to see it and I said yes. I don't know why. I just want to see it. I'm kind of on the fence but leaning towards seeing it. He can't email it or post it, so he's just going to bring his laptop to my hotel room and show it to me. I'm staying at an extended stay hotel for a couple of weeks. My dad's friend has a house they're gutting to make an Airbnb out of, and it'll be livable by then, but not yet ready to be rented out. I'll stay there and do some work on it in the evenings after work and on the weekends. Nothing huge. Some drywall, painting, and laying down vinyl plank flooring. My social calendar is going to be pretty empty, and it'll get my mind off of things. I'll update tomorrow evening after this shitshow explodes.
Update 4. E left Emily. We got the divorce papers, summons, petition, extend orders, etc.
The PI, acting in his capacity as a process server, wore a body cam for obvious professional reasons, and I was able to look at the footage when he came by my hotel room later on in the afternoon. The PI walked up to Emily, who was sitting at her station and chatting with the other stylists who work for her. He showed her a manila envelope and told her he had legal documents for her and she had been served. Emily, of course, looked shocked and confused and just stared at him, gobsmacked. The PI clarified that the envelope contained legal documents regarding a divorce case filed against her, and he told her she should review them and contact her attorney. Then he dropped the documents at her feet with a satisfying slap as they hit the ground since she refused to take them and told her she's still been served. He then told her to have a nice day and walked out. Morgan Freeman narrator voice, Emily didn't have a nice day. I could hear her hyperventilating as the PI left and saying, "What?
What is this?
Really? Emily? You're actually surprised?" I was at home, and after the PI called and said he was heading in to serve her, I called Emily's dad. Since my mom died, I had, probably unwisely, been treating her mom, my MIL, like a mother. I just couldn't talk to her. I told Emily's dad about the divorce. I tried to keep it very simple and quick. Emily cheated on me.
We are getting a divorce.
I'll send you an email shortly with evidence of the affair. I stressed that Emily was being served divorce papers today, so she would absolutely need their support and they should head over to our house immediately. Emily's dad acknowledged that and said that he hoped we could find a way through this and it would be a shame to break up our family. I guess Emily's mom was nearby and overheard because she took the phone from him, put it on speaker, and asked if this is true. I explained to her about the cheating and the email with the evidence they'll receive. She started crying and apologizing to me. Since this thing started, she was the first person close to me who apologized to me. I was reminded of my mother, who always would comfort me when I was down, and I just broke, y'all. I started tearing up and croaked out, "I have to go," and hung up on her while she was saying, "No, wait." I had packed up my work laptops and got a lot of my clothes in 2 large suitcases. On the advice of my attorney, I took down the cameras in the bathrooms and bedrooms when I left, but the cameras in the common areas can remain because my dad is the owner of the house. I packed the cameras up in my suitcases too. My lawyer sent the subpoena to the credit card company on Monday when I pulled the trigger on my marriage. I wrote an email to Emily's dad and sister and to some mutual friends who know both of us, including Bev's husband. It said, "I never thought I'd be writing this, but after everything that's happened, I don't see another choice. I wanted you to hear it from me directly so that there's no confusion or misinformation. Emily has been having an affair with a man named John, last name. I have evidence, emails, financial records, and an investigation that confirms it. I think we all know that her bracelet gift from Santa was not from a client, because the client would have identified themselves by name and clients don't know her parents' address. She's been meeting John and hiding it from me for months. I know this is painful to hear, and trust me, it's even more painful to write. But I didn't want you to be blindsided by all of this later. I'm attaching a few things to this email that make it clear what's been going on and to head off any of your concerns about the truth of my statements. I know this is shocking, and I don't expect you to take sides. I just want you to have the truth. I love Emily, but she's broken our marriage beyond repair, and I have no choice but to move forward with a divorce. Father-in-law's name, mother-in-law's name, sister-in-law's name, sister-in-law's hubby. Thank you for being like a second family to me.
I will miss all of you.
I wrote a similar email to John's wife and gave her my attorney's name and number if she wanted to go see the physical evidence herself. It would have to be in my lawyer's office. Personally, I think my lawyer is going to try to get John's wife to give her a retainer. I also sent a group text for them to check their emails, except for John's wife IDK her number. Then I blocked Emily's family. To the email I attached a photo of John and Emily kissing goodbye in the hotel parking lot and a photo of the contents of John's Valentine's Day card to Emily. It was explicit. Finally, I had a link to the recording of Emily saying that I didn't abuse or cheat on her. I just wanted to head that bullshit off ahead of time. I texted this to Bev's husband. Hey, Bev's husband, I need to tell you something, and I hate being the one to do this. But you deserve to know. Emily didn't cheat on me alone. She had support. She had help covering it up. And unfortunately, that help came from Bev. I don't know if you were aware, but Bev knew about the affair the entire time. She didn't just know about it. She encouraged it. She helped Emily justify it. She helped her keep it from me, and she even made excuses for her when she started feeling guilty about it. I have proof, and I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't. I'm not asking you to believe me blindly, but I think you should ask Bev some direct questions. Watch how she answers. Watch her reaction.
I'm sorry, man.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but I couldn't sit back and let you stay in the dark.
Believe me or don't believe me.
Either way, my conscience is clear. I then left my wedding ring, a printed copy of the same photo of Emily and John at the hotel parking lot kissing, my lawyer's business card, and a note, "Thanks for your help on this, guys." The note said, "I hope your affair with John was worth our marriage.
We are getting a divorce.
Contact my lawyer if you have any questions or need to get in touch for arrangements regarding the divorce. Otherwise, get a lawyer and let's get this over with. If you're truly remorseful, then do me the courtesy of giving me the easiest, most generous divorce possible. I loved you and I could have forgiven almost anything, except abject betrayal. I would have loved you for the rest of my life." On my way out, I got a call from Emily that I ignored. I put my phone on silent and dropped by the bank. I took out half our money from the various accounts we have.
Checking, emergency, vacation fund.
I have already frozen my credit. When I got to the hotel, I canceled our shared credit cards. I made arrangements to freeze our joint investment accounts so that she couldn't withdraw money from them. They're in my name. Adultery subreddit pro tip. People, if you cheat, make financial arrangements ahead of time in case you get caught. I then got a text from her. I left her on read because my lawyer told me that if she confesses to the affair over text, we can use that as more evidence for the divorce. I'm responding to her texts here only because it's therapeutic to me. Messing with the language/writing of her texts because I'm paranoid. This is the condensed version of the past 12 hours or so.
What is this? I'm divorcing you.
Answer your phone. We need to talk right now. Nope. I have had enough gaslighting for a lifetime. Thank you very much. This was followed up by a lot of texts demanding I call her or answer her calls. No thanks. Then the texts changed. So I presume she got home and read the note and saw what I left. I don't know what you think you know, but I can EXP everything. It's not what you think.
You're right, Emily. I'm a stupid idiot who LL believe anything you say.
Divorce? We love each other. We're supposed to work through this mistake. Mistake?
Oops, my wet o Rafael onto Joserek vevem.
Repeatedly. For almost a year. Oopsie.
Look no I fucked up.
But don't do this.
Don't live like this.
Finally, an acknowledgement of the affair over text. Zing. Write to my lawyer. I never stopped loving you. I never loved him.
Another gift from Emily.
Zing. Write to my lawyer. Then, the tone changed later.
Overreacting.
You are acting like I never loved you, like I wasn't trying to fix things, but you wouldn't let me.
Fix things? Okay. Build a time machine, Emily. Build a goddamn time machine.
Are you just going to ghost your own wife? Consults Magic 8 Ball. All signs point to yes. Then, her parents showed up at the house. Hoo boy, what the fuck did you do? And then, you had no right to involve my fam like this. Then followed by, are you trying to humiliate me?
Who ou trying dois ruin my life?
Do you hate me that much now? Kinda.
It is complicated.
After that comes a barrage of phone calls that I didn't answer.
How could you do this?
How could you try to turn my own fam against me? I'm trying to have them not turn against me. And then, I told you I never loved him. I never loved him.
No one cares, honey.
Least of all John.
He no love me.
I love you too. We can fix this. We can fix everything. And then, just tell me what to do.
Tell me how dois fix this. I'll do it.
Let me get this straight. You wiped your ass with our marriage vows and stabbed me in the back, and now you want me to tell you how to fix this shit? I had to go to Walmart because I forgot to pack underwear, and I don't have a rich sugar daddy to buy me some fancy skivvies from Saks Fifth Avenue.
Who never loved me if you can do this dois me?
Fuck this shit. I'm going to have to block her instead of leaving her on red. I don't think I can take this, man. So this is how a marriage ends.
No fanfare, no heróis de Eds, just winning, crin, anger, and depression.
Just like any other divorce, really.
Only this is my divorce and it feels like the end of the fucking world.
But in reality, this is all just beginning. I feel this whole process is going to take years. I hope not. My lawyer assures me that, with the evidence we have, it'll go relatively quick. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, what? Relatively quick. Relative to what?
Continental Drift.
At this point, I just want to thank you beautiful men and women who supported and encouraged me. I'd vacuum out all your cars if I could, and clean your bathrooms. I just want a falling anvil to hit me in the head and cause amnesia like a cartoon character or a Hallmark Channel movie. I know this is tonally all over the place.
I keep second guessing myself if I did the right thing.
I just changed my life today in a fundamental way. I'm wondering if it's a lateral move. I feel like I've moved from a warm cesspool to a cold gray rocky place. Is it an improvement? I feel like I have these scars now, and the one who gave them to me is the one person in the world I trusted the most.
I will never forgive her.
Now I have to buck up and walk it off like a real man because feelings and tears are weak and a turn off. I just want my mom. Update 5. A lot of you were wondering about Bev's husband. Bev's husband texted me back, shit, and then, thanks man. I don't know how exactly to interpret that, but I'm too tired to be invested in Bev's husband's marriage. I told him about his wife being a POS. What he does with that is on him.
Good luck, buddy. Oh, this is all okay. Fine, just block me and ignore me.
Go play Reddit Batman someplace else. Emily's mom texted me using Emily's phone.
She wants me to unblock her.
I ignored it. Several hours later she asked me again and promised not to bring up Emily if I would unblock her.
I unblocked Mill's number.
I texted her and told her I was still alive, had no plans to change that status, and that I will unblock her later on so we could talk. I told her in no uncertain terms that I only want to chat about me or her, but not Emily. I told her I need a break from all of this and I'll unblock her later and to be patient. I'll contact her again. Emily tried a perfunctory, "I'm sorry you're hurt" text, which wasn't very comforting. Hints from her texts and the fact that her mom is using her phone to text me indicate to me that she's at her parents' house now. There was a long silence of several hours. And finally, Emily texted me to check my email. Went to my spam folder, and there it is. As before, I obfuscated the text in writing because I don't want her to do a text search on the internet and find my posts. So yeah, the email she wrote didn't have these misspellings. She has autocorrect and spell check like everyone else.
Sorry for the annoying spelling.
You grammar Nazis are now the victims of my paranoia. Also, I'm making comments in the email too like before because I'm no contact and this is therapy for me. Here we go, my name. I keep thinking about how this can't be real.
It can't just be over.
How you can just shut me out like I was nothing to you.
It's killing me.
Yeah, that's the idea, Emily.
It sucks when you get abandoned by the one you love.
I don't even know how to start this because my mind is racing, and nothing makes sense. I know I don't deserve a response, but please, just read this.
Please don't delete it.
I just need you to hear me. I talked with my dad and Ciel's husband. I told them how I messed up. They said I was stupid and they're right. I told them about how I never loved John and I always loved you, and they laugh and told me that doesn't matter at all. I felt so stupid.
You know you're done with me.
I know I don't get to ask anything from you, but don't I at least deserve to explain? To look you in the eyes and tell you how sorry I am? To tell you I never stopped loving you? You think you know everything, but you don't.
Yes, I fucked up. I betrayed in a way that you can't take back.
But it wasn't because I didn't love you. I need you to know that it was never what you think it was. It wasn't about love. It wasn't even about sex. I was pressured and felt obligated. Oh yeah, let me just shave my privates, wear some $700 underwear and traipse on down to the expensive boutique hotel for a nice raping. Help. Police. John didn't just walk into my life and sweep me off my feet. He inserted himself. He did so much for me and for my business. You know how much I was struggling, how close I was to losing everything. He was the one who helped me. He connected me with the right people. He helped me with my lease, with contracts, with vendors. He got me meetings I could have never gotten on my own. And I let myself believe that he was just being a mentor, that he just wanted to help me. I told myself it was just one time, that if I just gave in one NCE, it would be enough, that he'd stop pressing. But it wasn't enough, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I kept telling him no, but he always had a way of making me feel like I was being ungrateful. Like after everything he did for me, I was selfish for not giving him what he wanted. I hate myself for not shutting it down from the start.
For being so fucking stupid.
For letting it go on. I tried to stop it, but every time I pulled away, he'd remind me of how much he helped me. How I wouldn't be where I am without him. How I'd ruin everything if I cut him off. So I kept making excuses. I told myself I had it under control. I thought I could handle it. What do we call someone who trades sex with someone they don't love for goods and services? Tip of my tongue. And then Christmas happened. New Year's Eve happened. And that's when I knew he wouldn't stop. That's when I knew I had to end it for good. I did end it. But by then, it was all fucked up. Everything was fucked up. I knew I had to tell you.
I wanted to tell you.
I knew that the second I told you, that you'd never look at me the same way again. That it would be ruined. And I couldn't handle it. I know you at least suspected ever since you accused me at New Year's Eve.
I just put my head down and wanted it to go away.
So I kept putting it off and telling myself I'd find the right time. But there was never a right time.
And now I've lost you anyway. I can't stop thinking about Charleston. Do you remember?
That stupid little bed and breakfast where you hated the coffee, and we spent half an hour at a gas station just so you could get a normal cup of coffee? And we sat outside that little seafood shack by the water, eating fried shrimp and laughed. No mention of John's credit card. No mention of how the affair wasn't fun for her anymore. No mention of how she was supposed to be handling me. Is this what they call trickle truth? Because a lot of this sounds like the Emily I know, TBH. Maybe there's some truth to it, but she's downplaying her role in it all. It's like this was all happening to her and she wasn't an active participant. I mean, I feel sorry that she lost control or whatever, but it's not like she didn't have a choice. She chose to sleep with the guy because she felt obligated and he did her favors. Doesn't that mean she's a prostitute? Sounds like I was prescient in naming her AP John. Here, I thought it was just 4 letters that are easy to type on a keyboard, and it turns out to be a role. Should I petition the mods to change my username to Oblivious Pimp 6969? I do want to know what you all think about it, but I'm telling you right now, it doesn't make a difference ultimately. She's trying to change the narrative to the point where we're both victims instead of just me, and I think that's just shitty. The really fucked up thing is that part of me wants to believe her, that she was just a victim of John. But the problem is, that doesn't change the fact that she slept with him for almost a year. If I forgive that, then what am I? Just sign the papers, Emily, and let's move on from this. Can't you do that for me? Please? You're young, you're beautiful, you don't have any kids, you are a successful business owner, and you have a whole wardrobe of fancy designer clothes courtesy of your sugar daddy.
You're killing it at life. Go live it somewhere the fuck away from me.
Update 6. So my friends took me out on a night on the town. I had informed them ahead of time that I would not be drinking. They informed me ahead of time they would be drinking. Oh well. The dudes who took me out on the town were, fake names, Jim, my friend from high school who knew Emily and I both. He's married. Jim was pretty floored that Emily did this. Matt was a groom I met early on when Emily was working her job. Early on in Emily's career before John, a bride had her hair and makeup artist bail last minute, and my wife jumped in because she was the first person they called who said yes on short notice. I packed along her hair and makeup stuff. Emily since has had everything packed up in an efficient way, but this was at the beginning before she had everything down to a science. I sat with Matt and chatted him up and calmed him down before his wedding while his bride and mine did their thing. We had a lot in common and the time flew by fast. Emily and I kept up with him and his wife and went on couples dates with them occasionally, but mainly Matt and I would hang with Jim. Bob is our single friend. Well, I guess I am too now. He's always the odd man out with the couples, but the married guys would hang with him so we could live vicariously through his singleness. You can just set up a board game in your living room and leave it? We'd mainly get together and play D&D. Yeah, we're nerds. Bob is the DM. We went out to dinner at a pretty nice steakhouse, which was a nice change from protein shakes, but it was still kind of hard to eat. Eat your steak, you pussy! Followed by laughter was the catchphrase.
E got it all down like a big boy.
After dinner, I recounted to them most of the saga that's in my posts minus some details. I don't want exactly what I know to get back to Emily, even though these guys are trustworthy. They were very supportive. They couldn't believe Emily did that to me, and they couldn't believe I did that to Emily. They were pretty upset with Emily. Matt told me that he heard Emily is really struggling. I stopped him right there and told him I didn't want to talk about or hear about Emily beyond what we had already talked about. The steak dinner was delicious but expensive. Afterwards, we went to this country dive bar Bob heard about. It's the kind of place where the floors are one large glue trap for human beings. The floors were sticky enough that I had to retie my shoes with double knots. That's how you know you're in a good dive bar, right? They were drinking beer and bourbon shots while I was staying sober. I don't need the alcohol fairy advising me to call Emily and cry and weep and then eat a bullet. No. I talked to my dad a couple of days beforehand and he told me to stay away from alcohol. I was way ahead of him on that one. And that real men drink bitters and soda when they're not drinking booze at a bar and not diet soda or mocktails. Those are for pussies. I asked the bartender for a bitters and soda, confident that I'd be looked at like a manly man, and she teased me and said, "Okay, Grandpa," and poured me some club soda and shook some droplets from what looked like a brown Tabasco bottle. Thanks, Dad. I liked the taste, though. I soon became stuck in that sober guy limbo where everything is funny, but you know in 1 hour you're going to be babysitting adult toddlers. The guys got more and more shit-faced and more enraged about what Emily did to me. They were wanting to call her up and yell at her. I told them I took care of it and talked about that video I link a bunch of times here about how absolute silence and no contact is the right way to treat a cheater. They seemed to agree. Jim was calling the female bartender bro. Matt was downing a draft beer while stuffing steak nachos down his throat. After a steak dinner. He and his wife are pesky vegetarians. So I have aided and abetted dietary infidelity just like Bev did with real actual penis adultery.
E have no shame now.
Matt paid for that sudden intake of red meat later. We had some lively conversations about politics and their relationships, but not mine. Just to head off the questions, I don't know if there were any pretty girls there. I wasn't really looking. I felt like a burn victim, like everyone was staring at me and doing that thing where you inhale sharply between clenched teeth. After the bar kicked us out at the end of the night, I herded them into Jim's minivan and kept Bob from purchasing a homeless man's dog. Jim didn't need that smell in his minivan, and Jim's wife would harpoon me. Matt was moaning and holding his stomach. I stole a trash bag from the little closet in the bar's restroom just in case he needed to throw up. I drove them all home, let them get their own cars the next day. I walked Bob to his bed, thought the better of it, and decided to just cut out the middleman and deposited him in front of his toilet, head hanging over the side. I gave Matt over to his pregnant wife and told her that it will be Matt who's vomiting for a change. She tried to talk with me about Emily, but I politely shut it down quickly. I don't know why her friends are so invested in us getting back together. I can only assume they don't know the whole story. I don't want to reveal details to anyone until I absolutely have to. I drove Jim's minivan home to his house. I shoveled Jim into his master bath where he proceeded to sacrifice his expensive steak dinner to the porcelain gods. It's okay, I didn't pay for it. Jim's wife gave me a big hug and asked me how I'm holding up. I said as good as can be expected. She said that I should concentrate on whatever new beginning I choose next. I guess I just won at STBX Bingo because I think that's the top 3 things I've been hearing and saying lately. I paid for a ride back to the bar where I made sure all their cars were locked before I drove mine to the hotel where I'm staying currently. Sunday night we played D&D and Codenames at Bob's place.
None off US drunk.
I had a good time then too. I'm going back to work on Monday. By that I mean I'll be bringing my laptops either to the public library or a coffee shop to do my work. I don't have any in-person meetings scheduled for my office next week. I think I'm just going to lay low and establish a new normal. Next week, or maybe the week after, I'll be moving over to my dad's friend's Airbnb remodel and helping out there in my spare time. That will be my home for the foreseeable future. Right now we're waiting on the credit card records and, to my knowledge, Emily hasn't gotten a lawyer yet.
Come on, default judgment.
My lawyer told me John's wife contacted her. She didn't get any more specific than that. Nothing from Bev or her husband. They're Emily's friends, not mine. I did her hubby a favor. What happens next is up to him to answer the multiple questions here. The only overnights Emily had during the time period of her affair were when she visited her parents.
3 times.
I verified it with them each time. Not because I was paranoid, but I just liked talking to my Emil and it was an excuse to chat with her. The 3rd time Emily went, she came down with the flu and Mel took care of her for a couple of days. I called every day. I'm pretty convinced that she didn't do overnights with John. The closest she came was during NYE. I suppose Emil could have aided and abetted her infidelity, but she's very religious and I don't believe she'd do that. Not gonna lie, it would hurt a lot if she did. As far as news of Emily, I have no idea since I'm no contact. Matt said his wife said that Emily is struggling, and that's it. I hope she gets help if it gets too bad. I checked the cameras and Emily seems to have moved out of the house. I believe she's with her parents currently, which is a hell of a commute for her, so she's probably taking time off work too. I'll update if anything significant happens. Believe me. Otherwise, I probably won't be as active on here as I was last week. Update 7. A lot has happened and I'll just go through it all in order. I don't have the credit card records yet, but my lawyer says that she successfully got a gag order, or something like that, so that Emily and John won't be notified of the subpoena until we get the records in our eager little hands. I expect a huge shitstorm from Emily when she gets that news, trying to turn the narrative in any angle she can so that she doesn't come off as some kind of crazy hooker. I met with John's wife, I'll call her Lisa. She was devastated by all of this, but not surprised. She told me John cheated on her when she was pregnant with their 3rd child. We got to talking about the sequence of events, especially towards the end where John got more and more invested in my wife. We talked about New Year's Eve and Lisa said that she had taken their 3 kids to Orlando for the holidays and John had come but then left early and wasn't there for NYE. Lisa said that John had FaceTimed her during the countdown and she's 100% certain that he was at their house. She was so pissed to the point of tears. She had someone check the Ring camera footage and sure enough there was John and Emily both arriving in John's car and him pulling her into their house. She didn't look very excited to be there, but she wasn't struggling either. Emily had driven her car on NYE, so I don't know what happened. I told Lisa at least Emily didn't get pregnant from the guy, and Lisa assured me that it wasn't possible, or at least not probable. After she caught him cheating after their third kid, she demanded he get a vasectomy as part of the conditions of staying together, and she drove him to the appointment herself because she didn't trust him. Well,
Kowoi shouting haber baletes now.
Lisa has put my lawyer on retainer, so we're going to be divorce buddies, I guess. We're forming a little club where we have sleepovers, eat esmores and braid each other's hair and spill the tea on Timothy Chalamet. It's gonna be great. Lisa shared a bunch of stuff with me, which is basically more communications between John and Emily, where John begs her to see him and compliments her and tells her he bought a new outfit for her and wants to see her in it. The timeline of messages had her being friendly at first, but getting more and more cold over time. Poor John. I asked Lisa if she was aware of John's lingerie fetish, and she said she could probably open a resale store with just her stuff alone. Just to head off any comments, Lisa and I are kind of supporting each other through this, as we alone know what the other is going through. She asks me all kinds of questions about Emily. I tell her I don't want to know a thing about John. Sex is pretty much the furthest thing from my mind, and honestly I don't think I could get it up for anyone who's been with John.
E low-key hate the guy.
Also, my lawyer told me to be really careful about being around Lisa because we're both going for an at-fault divorce, and us being physically close in any proximity could look like we're having an affair, which would count against both of us in our divorces. Always do what your lawyer tells you to do. I moved out of the residence hotel and into the Airbnb remodel. My role there will just be painting, some sheetrock work, laying down vinyl plank flooring, and just letting the service people in and out of the place at all hours of the day. It's a welcome distraction to everything that's going on. It's kind of funny, this place. It has thoroughly modern kitchen. The fridge has a touchscreen tablet embedded in it. This kitchen could hack into the Pentagon and turn them all vegan. The rest of the house is a shit pit. Oh. The AC works and it's got a new roof and internet though, so I'm happy. I unblocked my MAL and we chatted a bit over text.
Just some face level stuffy.
She asked to meet me and promised that Emily would not be there. I wanted to see her, so I agreed to meet her in a remote spot. I told her that if Emily was there, I'd immediately leave and cut her off forever. She agreed and we met. I drove out to a public park a good distance from where the Airbnb is. She came. Emily was not there. She teared up when she saw me and said I looked so thin. She took me to her car and unloaded a ton of groceries on me. She bought me eggs, chicken, some steaks, homemade soup, homemade cookies, my favorite spinach casserole that she made, and a ton of fruits and vegetables. She told me to start eating well or she was going to move in with me and nag me until I did. I almost took her up on that. Being alone sucks. We chatted some, and towards the end, she started doing that thing where you want to talk but you know you can't. Lots of starts and stops as she was trying to find a loophole in my conditions. I felt sorry for her, so I told her we could talk about one thing. I know. I shouldn't have caved, but that's the reason I ghosted Emily. I cave around people who are emotional like that. I just want them to feel okay and to be the person responsible for them feeling okay. The loophole she invoked was that she didn't want to talk about Emily. She wanted to talk about reconciliation. I told her what I wrote in these posts and comments. My marriage to Emily is over. Even if we were to get back together, which we won't, it will be over because we're different people now. I told Emil that Emily wants to reconcile with the person I was before I found out the truth about her. I treated her great. I was a good husband. I was loyal and loving. That person doesn't exist anymore. The person I am now would treat her daughter badly. I would probably lash out, verbally abusing her all the time. I would be miserable thinking about what she's doing every time she walks out our front door, and I'd make her daughter miserable too. Emily would no longer love me because I'd be this sad, miserable shadow of who I was. I wouldn't be the guy she fell in love with.
I'm different now.
Emily might say that she loves me, but anyone can say anything. All I have to go by are her actions, and her actions tell me that she's only sorry she got caught. She is not taking accountability for her willingly destroying our marriage. There's no possible magical phrase she can say that will make me okay with what she did. I can't forget about it. I told Mill I have evidence that she's not privy to that will back up my claims that Emily knew what she was doing and she's not a victim in this. Mill was very interested in seeing it, and I told her she will when my lawyer says it's okay. I mentioned what I've said before about Emily being with John and then coming home and kissing me without brushing her disgusting mouth first. I think that hit home. Emil looked mortified. Emily talked about therapy for us both individually and together and said that she'd pay for it. She said that she'd been reading online about reconciliation and that it's possible. I told her I'd read about it too, and the stories that stand out to me are the ones where the person who cheated was remorseful and did the work, but after a number of years pass, cheats again and is not remorseful and leaves the cheated on person who took them back for the affair partner. Only now there are kids involved. The most successful reconciliations I've heard of are with two people who don't fully trust each other and never will. I would either be this suicidal sucker or a loving husband who has cruel emotional outbursts and PTSD moments. I asked her if she would want to live like this. She agreed she wouldn't. I told her that Emily is not telling her the whole story and that I have evidence that this was a willing ongoing affair and not SA or coercion or grooming. I told her to get Emily into therapy so that she can maybe try to fix whatever inside her caused her to do this terrible thing. That if she were able to fix that about herself and be loyal, that she'd make a great partner.
She's only 28. She's very beautiful.
She has no kids and a successful business. I told her there were probably hordes of guys wanting to marry and have kids with Emily and that Mael could still count on having grandkids, but just not for me. She said she wished I would think about it, and I told her I've already gone over every possible future Emily and I have in my spare time and I just can't do it.
Emily betrayed me.
I told Emily's mom that she needed to either get a lawyer for Emily or to get Emily to sign whatever offer my lawyer puts in front of her. I was kind of hoping for a default judgment, but I think I'll have no such luck. Emily's family will probably get her a lawyer, and then shit Hurricane Emily will blow through my life for a bit until we're finally done with this. Divorce is a flaming hell's cape we all crawl through alone. I have no kids with her, thank God. So I'll be able to make a clean break of it when this is all done. I'll never be able to fucking forget this shit, though. It's always going to be a part of me, and that sucks. It fucking sucks that a person can mark another person so heavily that they're always scarred by it. Maybe it's a healthy thing that I'm more distrustful, standoffish, and skeptical about people now, but I can't help but think that my being changed like this would have really upset my mom. It's probably a good thing she didn't live to see this version of me. Update 8. It's been a tough 3 days. Jim and Bob are here with me at the Airbnb. They've been hiding all the knives, razors, grenades, and machine guns. We've played some board games today. I'm hungover and they're keeping me away from my phone. Matt put in an appearance, but we shooed him away after a couple of games of Caton because he has a pregnant wife at home and she's a good woman. A lot of you asked about Bev's husband. I can't see Bev on social media, so I contacted Matt and asked if he could find her. He talked to his wife, and his wife is online only friends with Bev since she's friends with Emily. Matt's wife couldn't find her either. I asked my lawyer about it and she tried to find Bev but couldn't. So I'm pretty sure that Bev deleted all her social media or set it to extra special private mode. My question to all of you is, how the hell are we all going to get our daily dose of pictures of restaurant food now? We've been robbed, people. We got the credit card records, and I went to my lawyer's office Wednesday afternoon as soon as they called me. Lisa arrived soon after I did. The bills were being charged to John's wedding venue business. So I guess that means Emily is technically his employee? I don't know how this shit works. Are whores contractors? At the beginning, there are charges for hotels and really nice restaurants. There's one local boutique hotel that's pretty expensive, and they seem to settle on that one mostly. That's the one they were caught at by the PI in the parking lot. The hotels and restaurants started out with one hotel stay every Friday and a couple of expensive restaurant charges every week. The hotel stays lined up with appointments with John in Emily's appointment book. I'm not so naive that I think they only did it in hotels though, so there was probably more. $500 for a couple of hours at the hotel though. John must have been their favorite customer. There was a $1,000 hotel charge on NYE. I don't know exactly what happened, but what I think happened is that she paid for the hotel as usual with a card. They met at the hotel. Then he took her home to his McMansion until after midnight, and finally he took her back to the hotel parking lot. She didn't Uber though. There wasn't a charge for that on the card, so John gave her a lift. Such a gentleman. The thing that destroyed me was a charge for $174.61 at local name Adult Superstore about 3 weeks after she first got the card. Before I get called out, the records we got from the credit card company were a lot more detailed than regular credit card statements. So even though the charge was such and such enterprises, it was easy to connect to the Adult Superstore with the records we got from the credit card company. That's right. Early on, my wife and her affair partner went to the friendly neighborhood sex shop together. Magical.
$175.
Was it a 55-gallon drum of lube? A gross of teensy tiny condoms? After about a couple of months, more and more charges appeared for Saks Fifth Avenue, local boutiques, spa treatments, gas stations, and grocery stores. A good portion were business-related charges for her salon. John paid for our date nights. I guess this is what was meant by handling me. I remember Emily giving me gifts, but they were clothes and shoes, and I'm not a fashion guy, so I didn't know they were expensive. When she gave them to me, she didn't make it out like it was a big deal. It was just, I got you some new shoes and clothes. Try it on for me. And then, ooh.
E o look só some.
Ah shucks, ma'am. This was when she was paying extra attention to me and really engaging with me. God, I felt so lucky and in love with her at the time. I was so goddamn happy like an idiot. I looked up my leather loafers online and they were $500. I had 2 other pairs of shoes from her. Emily had told me that she was doing a lot better in her business and that she could afford to foot some of the bills. Of course, I was overjoyed.
Só crueles.
The charges tapered off in October. In December, the only charges other than hotel were presumably when she bought Christmas gifts for everyone. There was a charge for a local toy store, the non-adult kind of toy store, for a change. All in all, she racked up close to $30,000 on the card. She even paid a few utility bills with it. I mean, who was controlling who here? She was groomed and manipulated by him? It sounds to me like John was a complete sucker for my wife and she was using the hell out of him.
E almost feel sorry for the guy.
I guess I really am an oblivious pimp.
I am fucking done.
I am so fucking done with this nasty hooker, y'all. You don't even know. Whatever lingering doubts I had are completely gone. Evaporated.
Adult Superstore?
I'm imagining a Costco warehouse with shrink-wrapped pallets of dildos stacked up on top of the shelves. Gallon-size bottles of Kirkland sex lube with pumps on the top, sold in packages of 2. They walked in there. Together. Made purchases there. Together. I'm done. I am so goddamn done. I think I can meet with her now face to face now. I just feel nothing but loathing for her. So since there's a gag order on the subpoena, Emily and John aren't going to know we have these records until we blindside them with them either in negotiations or in the discovery process. I was wrong about them being notified. I misinterpreted what my attorney said, again. Her goal is to have an early negotiation and blindside Emily and her attorney with what we know. Oh yeah, Emily has an attorney now. Her parents are paying for it. Her mom texted me. When I thought her business was doing awesome, that was just her spending John's money. I have no idea how it is, but if Emily's parents are paying for the attorney, I think either her business is in trouble or she's keeping her success from them. Or maybe she's just a leech. I don't know the woman anymore. The truth will come out when she has to give up her business financial records during discovery. My attorney is going to try to get Emily and her attorney into her office for an early negotiation towards a settlement, trying to avoid a formal trial. I think I want to be there when Emily is blindsided with the truth. Maybe she'll tell the lawyer her parents paid for that she had a credit card from her sugar daddy.
Yeah, right.
When COVID had her business sidelined, she raided our entire emergency fund to keep it afloat. I suppose it was an emergency, but she kept it from me. We had a huge fight about it, and we ended up putting alerts on the vacation fund and emergency fund. FYI, I mentioned this in comments in earlier posts. This next part is so embarrassing to me now. After reading the card statements and thinking about my wife and the guy she was fucking going to an adult superstore together, I just looked at my lawyer and Lisa, who were going over the records too and cross-referencing things with Lisa's records. I asked them if they thought I was good-looking. They were taken aback and they said yes, that I was good-looking. On hindsight, the whole thing was so fucking embarrassing. I get chills thinking about asking that. What were they going to say? No, you look totally busted. We can barely stomach being in the same room as you? My lawyer figured out where my head was at and told me that she's been representing tons of divorce cases and the people she's seen cheated on were all different levels of attractiveness. Some would put supermodels to shame. She said she's seen cheaters that were very attractive and she's seen cheaters who she wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. She said in all cases, it was all about the cheater and not the cheated. Lisa started tearing up a little. I barely kept it together. I'm so embarrassed thinking about it now. Afterwards, I asked my lawyer if John could maybe sue me for the credit card charges since I benefited from them, and she said that even though this is America and anyone can sue anyone else for anything, he'd have a ridiculously small chance of winning in court and no lawyer worth their salt would go after me. Lisa asked if she could sue Emily, but the lawyer shut that down too, saying that Emily was given a card by John, and even though it had her name on it, the person at fault in this case is John, and that all money spent on the affair will be accounted for in Lisa's divorce settlement. Lisa was adamant about hamstringing John totally and completely. There are no alienation of affection laws in our state, unfortunately, so John is safe from me and Emily is safe from Lisa. I told Lisa in a mock-serious tone that she's not getting a goddamn cent out of me, and she and my lawyer laughed. The lawyer said she will be handing over the information to the IRS, with Lisa's permission.
Audita oi, John.
I just want all of this in my rear-view mirror so fucking badly I can taste it. Congratulations, Emily. You've successfully annihilated all lingering affection and concern I had for you. Mission accomplished.
Idgaf what happens to you now.
Have you heard about infidelity baseball? I'm experiencing infidelity dodgeball. I went to my office Thursday and Friday for some in-person meetings and to do some pair programming with a new hire for a couple of days to bring him up to speed on our proprietary stuff. The new hires usually work in the office for roughly 2 to 3 months to evaluate them and to work with the team in person before allowing them to go remote. Since he's on my team, I'll have to go in regularly to help out. But mostly I can pair program from home. Yesterday, I got a call from the guard station in the lobby that I had a visitor. I asked them who was visiting me and they said it was my wife. I told them that I wasn't taking visitors today and to tell her to go away. The guard seemed taken aback by that, but said okay. I ate lunch at my desk and the new guy went out to eat. He came back and told me there was a total smoke show waiting for me just outside the building. Some of my colleagues were like, "Really?" and got up to go look. She had apparently seen his ID/keycard because he's new and wears it on a lanyard around his neck rather than shoving it in his pocket like everyone else. I told him I wasn't interested in seeing her and he looked at me like I was crazy. I explained that it was my STBXW. I know he was trying to make friends with the senior guy and he was a little socially awkward, so I tried to downplay any annoyance I had. He asked me why I'd dump a girl who looked like that and I explained to him that she cheated on me. He wanted the gory details and all the little groundhogs were popping their heads up above their cubicle walls and I told him, and them, there's nothing more to say and it's all very dull and conventional. He asked me who she cheated with, and I said, a business associate. That seemed to satisfy him and all the little groundhogs went back down behind their cubicle walls. I didn't go down to look at her. The fact that new guy called her a total smoke show tells me she went full on glam. After knowing she went sex shopping with John, the first was afraid of what I'd do or say. I decided I'd get ahead on some tasks that evening and stayed until midnight. Just in case, I left by the back/service/delivery entrance where the smokers go out to smoke and sneaked to my car with my head snapping around on a swivel like a goddamn crazy person. Dodge. How the fuck did she know I was there? Has she been showing up regularly or something? I'm usually not in the building. She's turning into this Colorado River of bats hit, carving out a Grand Canyon of crazy in my goddamn head. How's that for imagery? I never thought I'd get to this point. I thought I'd always have some kind of affection for her, you know?
Some kind of pitch.
But I'm done. I'm completely done. She could tell me she had terminal cancer and I'd feel the same way as if a total stranger told me. I'm so sorry. I hope you're wrong and it's not terminal.
If not, I hope you don't suffer too much.
Good luck. Then just go on with my day as normal. I confess that a tiny part of me was thinking that, given distance and time, we might come back together in some peaceful way in the future.
That's all shot to hell now. It is as told in Tommy.
I thought at least a small part of me would love her forever, you know? Even the happy memories I have, especially during our wonderful bonding and romantic times that happened during her affair, are all tainted now. She was the love of my life and I thought it would be forever.
Like beyond death even. But here we are.
When it comes to Emily, I'm just a black void inside now.
I'm angry that wasted almost of my life and all of my love on a straight up prostitute.
God, what a sucker I am. Mini update. Emily's attorney reached out to my attorney today and we have scheduled a preliminary negotiation for next Wednesday. My attorney said I didn't have to be there. I asked her if this is where we blindside her with the credit card records and she said, yes. So, I want to be there. I'm super nervous though.
I'll figure something out.
Jim and Matt usually have some good advice. Bob, not so much. Another mini update and question. My lawyer said that Emily's side reached out and told me that I could ask Emily questions regarding the affair. So, they're not denying the affair and they're planning on negotiating a settlement and not going to court. My lawyer is going to come up with some demands from our side. But in a good faith gesture, I guess? They didn't call it that. They wanted to allow me to give her a list of questions that she would answer truthfully. Like I said in my comments, I enjoy reading science fiction and fantasy as much as the next guy, so I'm wondering what you guys think I should ask. Seriously though, I was going to ask about what happened on New Year's Eve. IDK if I want to know about the sex shopping. Maybe it's a waste of time though. Maybe I'll just ask her, prove the Collett's conjecture for all positive integers. Do your reptilian masters know that you're freely using the word love without knowledge of its definition? My lawyer says they want the questions ahead of time and will probably coach Emily on the answers, so I'm not taking it too seriously. It does signal that they're wanting to not go to trial, that they acknowledge the affair, and that they're probably pushing for some kind of reconciliation, which is not surprising. Honestly, the only thing that's boiling my noodle is what happened on New Year's Eve. I think I know, but I want to hear her side. Question update. I've decided to ask her only one question. What happened on New Year's Eve? That's the only question they're going to get. What happened on New Year's Eve? That's really the only thing that has me puzzled. I'm just wondering about the logistics of it all. She left in her car. She arrived at John's place together in his car. Then, he took her away in his car. I asked Lisa about it and she checked the Ring camera footage and they left around 30 minutes after midnight. She showed up at our home at a little before 1:30 a.m. and did the whole waterworks crying thing. I'm not putting any of these details in the question. I'm only asking literally, what happened on New Year's Eve? Be detailed in your response. I don't think I'm giving up any information from our side by asking that. She already knows I thought she was cheating on NYE. I'll run it by my attorney Monday, which is the deadline. She told me that she needs to approve any questions beforehand anyway, so we don't give up any potential surprises beforehand. I don't think this will reveal anything new. I'm not asking about the sex shop purchase because that would tell them that we have the credit card records, which they may or may not already know about, but we don't want to reveal that either way. Any other question at this point will just get me a lawyer-filtered tapestry of bullshit. Probably the New Year's Eve question will too. I'm just wondering what their answer will be. If it's, I went to the Bridezilla party and stayed late, then I know I'm just wasting my time looking for answers from this woman, which let's face it, I probably am. Update 9. Just wanted to answer a lot of chats that I got here for everyone to see. No, I'm not a guy who gets off on his wife having sex with another guy, and this is not some kind of erotic fiction. I don't see what's erotic about my posts, maybe some TMI in my comments. But no, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy who divorces his wife for doing that kind of shit. I do exercise. I had a scholarship in college for being on the diving team. I still swim laps every day that I possibly can. I'm 6 feet tall exactly. 6 foot 3 inches if I'm standing on all the red flags I've collected lately. I weigh 180 pounds. The reason I'm saying this is to answer the chats that say I've become a fat, ugly, middle-aged dude who let himself go and his hot wife had no choice but to go outside the marriage. I can't go to my regular club anymore for obvious reasons, but I do have a new gym that doesn't have a pool. I use the neighborhood pool to swim laps now that the weather is warming up. I've been working out lately by lifting at my new gym and hitting the heavy bag in the Airbnb's garage that Jim and I put up, with the owner's permission. We'll remove it when I leave. I've also been going for long walks every day. When I walk, it's for an hour at least. I try to take up running, but my dad said he took up running in his 30s and got to the point where he was running half marathons, but it wrecked his hips and knees. He said I have his shitty genes, so I should not take up running. I like swimming laps more anyway. For those who wrote me saying it's very difficult for a beautiful woman in these modern times because she constantly has guys from all over the world trying to pick her up and these guys are all richer and better looking than me, fine. If that's the case, then she should have just divorced me first and then gone on to bigger and better things. However, one of the things I loved about Emily and that made me secure in the relationship is that her social media presence was all about before and after pictures for her hair and makeup business. She turns bridge trolls into princesses, and she's very good at what she does. She rarely appears in the photos, and when she does, she's fully dressed in regular clothes. All her other social media is friends and family only. On to the update. Last week, Emily's lawyer scheduled a preliminary negotiation with me and my lawyer that took place earlier today. They said that, in the spirit of reconciliation, I could give Emily a list of questions about the affair. My lawyer said that they'd probably filter and curate her answers so she doesn't look guiltier than she already is. But that it's a good sign because they're admitting to the affair but not to the degree of the affair. I decided to only ask one question. What happened on New Year's Eve? Be as detailed as possible. I'm only asking that because she knows that I know she was with John, after accusing her that night. And I was just wondering why she left in her car, went to John's house in his car, and then came home at roughly 1:30 a.m. in her car. I know they had a hotel reservation. I just wanted to use this as a litmus test to see if she would tell me the truth, and it's also just something I'm curious about. The logistics of the thing. That's the only question I asked, and my lawyer laughed and said that it's probably not what they were expecting. Any other questions would be either pain shopping on my part or filtered through lawyers to remove all meaning. Since my MIL and Emily were going to be there, I felt like I'd be a coward if I didn't show up. Her lawyer asked permission to bring Mail along because MIL is Emily's emotional support animal, and I said yes. I told my lawyer I wouldn't be talking to them, and she said good and that I didn't have to show up at all since it was kind of an informal meeting. But if I did show up, that I need to STFU. I went to my GP for some kind of anti-anxiety short-term meds, and he prescribed me 3 pills of Klonopin. He said to take one at most an hour before the meeting, and to take one the day before to make sure I was ready for the effects when they happen. I took it and it just made me sleepy. I was just at home at the Airbnb and didn't interact with anything that would make me anxious, though. So we had the negotiation today around 10 a.m. I popped the Klonopin an hour beforehand, and Bob drove me to my lawyer's office and waited outside for the circus to end. Angry, anxious me was replaced by floaty me. Floaty me is the coolest. I was wearing the $3,000 suit Emily bought for me with John's money and the $500 loafers and $300 leather belt plus a $175 white silk shirt. Yeah, me and my buddies looked it all up. Thanks for the gear, John. I pitched in $10 for a nice cotton t-shirt underneath and some $4 boxer briefs.
Isopoi mais selfie.
I was feeling vaguely nauseated on the way to the meeting. I chalked it up to nerves. Floaty me sat there with my lawyer until Emily and her lawyer walked in. We introduced ourselves. I said nice to meet you to the lawyer out of reflex, and he smiled like, no you're not. Emily, as expected, looked well put together but tired. She had her hair up in a carefully crafted blonde ponytail and was wearing a very short black dress with a suit jacket. Emily looked at me with a pained expression and doing her fake smile. She was shaking slightly the whole time and taking these deep breaths periodically. She didn't say anything, but she sure looked like she wanted to. Emily's mom was dressed in a nice sundress and she had done her makeup and hair, or Emily had done it. She smiled at me genuinely and reached for me, but then held back like she realized I was the enemy today. I gave her a little smile and wave. My lawyer said that Emily's lawyer told her they had an offer for me. Emily's lawyer said yes and pulled a piece of paper out of his bag and read off the offer before handing it to my lawyer. Emily will reimburse the full amount of $10,000 to the Joint Marital Emergency Fund, previously withdrawn, without my knowledge or consent, in 2020 to support her business during COVID. Emily will pay for my legal fees incurred to date and up to the conclusion of the reconciliation period. We will participate in 9 months of individual and couples counseling, to be fully paid for by Emily. Selection of licensed professionals shall be mutually agreed upon. During the reconciliation period, cohabitation is encouraged but not mandatory. We agree to maintain respectful communication and allow for flexibility in living arrangements in accordance with our well-being. If, after 9 months, I still want a divorce, I retain the reimbursed emergency fund. Emily waives any claim to spousal support. Emily affirms no interest or legal claim to my dad's residence or related property. All marital liquid assets, e.g., joint checking/savings, investment accounts, household items, and Emily's IRA, shall be divided equitably, excluding my 401k. Personal gifts, inherited property, and premarital assets shall remain separate. We agree to enter into a mutual non-disparagement agreement, ensuring that neither party will make defamatory or damaging statements about the other in public, private, or online forums. Too late for this one, right? I guess I'd have to delete everything, but I think I've changed enough, especially the names, that would give me plausible deniability. In the event of divorce, We agree to proceed under a no-fault basis with mutual consent.
Yeah, no.
Floaty me thought, hey, they want me to reboot the shittiest year of my life and relive it.
Great.
Then the lawyer handed me an envelope and told me that it was the answered questions from Emily. There was only one question. Floaty me said thanks and slipped it in my suit pocket. My lawyer said that we'll take the offer under advisement and have an answer for them soon. But first we had some questions we wanted cleared up. Emily's lawyer said they had some questions to clear up as well. My lawyer deferred to Emily's lawyer and told him to go ahead and ask his questions. Emily's lawyer asked me why I felt the need to put a GPS tracker on Emily's car. I had taken the VAR out of the car and left it out when I got the evidence I needed for Emily's affair. I kept the GPS tracker in the car for the PI and didn't have an opportunity to grab it later. It's run out of charge, I think, and I've let the subscription lapse, so the lawyer must have gotten the bright idea to examine Emily's car carefully. My lawyer interjected and said the car was owned jointly by the both of us and I was the primary payer of the car note. I was concerned about Emily's well-being due to her unusual behavior and that any and all evidence we have that will be submitted to the court has been legally obtained. Emily's lawyer acknowledged that and then asked me why I informed Bev's husband about her involvement with Emily's affair. How did I know that Bev was involved? Emily's lawyer told my lawyer that he'd like to hear it from me. Fortunately, my lawyer coached me about it and I said that Emily had a history of leaning on Bev for support. When I saw signs something was wrong and noticed how Bev acted around me, I put two and two together. Her lawyer nodded like, yeah, that's certainly words that came out of your face and weren't coached at all. My lawyer told Emily's lawyer that we would need Emily's business financials as a part of discovery, and he said they anticipated that and handed over a folder of papers. My lawyer then pulled out a folder of the credit card records and put it on the table and told Emily's side that we know she had a Visa Infinite card in her name that was billed to John's wedding venue business. Emily immediately tensed up and froze, wild-eyed. Emily's mom's head snapped to stare at her. Emily's lawyer cleared his throat loudly and blinked like 700 times. My lawyer started reading off hotel charges and dates and asking why those charges and dates coincided with meetings with John in her appointment book.
Emily started shocking and stammering.
Her lawyer instructed her to be silent. He said that they were not aware of any credit card and that they were not notified of this evidence. My lawyer told them that they were notified now and handed him another folder with copies of the credit card records. My lawyer then talked about the charges in December that included the toy store and asked if she bought me and her family Christmas gifts with the card. Emily was breathing heavy and had a nice flop sweat forming.
Not a good look, Emily.
Not a good look at all. Her mom said what? And Emily's lawyer cleared his throat like a magician's assistant who knows the trick is about to fail. My lawyer then asked if Emily recognized the clothes I was wearing and could she point out in the card records which charges coincided with them. Emily stood up and looked like she was about to bolt. Her lawyer looked annoyed. My lawyer then asked Emily about the $175 charge at the local name Sex Superstore, and Emily's lawyer sighed heavily and said that he felt that the meeting has stopped being productive. Simultaneously, Emily's mom looked down at the floor, said, "Oh God," and got up and left the room, her hand over her mouth. Knowing my MIL, the "oh God" was more of a prayer than an expletive. God, sorry, I can't answer my phone right now. But if you leave your name, number, and a brief message. At the same time the Sex Superstore was mentioned, Emily started going crazy and saying she can explain. It's not what I think. Update 10. So right off the bat.
Emily's fine.
She's at home resting. She's not a foaming at the mouth insane person who's drugged and in a mental health facility. She didn't try to kill herself. She basically pulled a poison gas attack on our old neighborhood, but other than that, we're all good. I was reading at the Airbnb on Sunday around 6 p.m. when I get a call from my dad in Florida. He said that our old neighbors called him and they thought there was an electrical fire at our house, but then they saw Emily burning things on our outdoor grill in the backyard. I called up Emily's mom and told her what was going on, and she thought Emily was in her room. Apparently that whole family has been avoiding each other lately, so they didn't notice her slip out and drive off. I told them that Emily was at our old house burning things on the backyard grill. It's a big built-in thing. And that the neighbors were complaining. They said they'd come. I decided to go over there myself and called the police, the non-emergency number, and told them that we had a small accident in the backyard, but everything's okay and we have it under control. I didn't want Emily arrested for her family's sake. She's already costing them a lot of money. I don't need to add jailbird to everything they're going through. As to how she got in, yes, we evicted her, but the locks hadn't been changed. I thought my dad was going to arrange that, and my dad thought I was going to do it. I've since changed the locks myself. It's not difficult unless you have to rehang the door. Then it's a son of a bitch. I got there before Emily's parents, and the smell was awful. It was this sharp chemical smell, and it was no surprise that people thought it was an electrical fire. I ran into the kitchen and got the fire extinguisher from under the sink and scared the shit out of Emily by rushing out, shouting at her to get TF out of the way, and blasting the barbecue grill thoroughly with the extinguisher. She just stood there surprised to see me, like setting a fire summoned me like Smokey the Bear. She was in the process of burning her designer wardrobe, her bags, a bunch of lingerie outfits, shoes, makeup, etc. Adultery subreddit pro tip. Burning stuff that's not wood or food gives off a chemical gas that will choke the shit out of you. The grill smelled like a department store perfume counter had gotten into a fistfight with a tire fire. Thanks, Emily. There was stuff piled up next to the grill in expensive boutique shopping bags. I shudder to think what kind of super fun site my backyard would turn into if she burned all that shit. I goon-handed her around the side of the house to the front yard to escape the poison. I asked her what in the holy hell she was thinking trying to burn my house down. It occurred to me right then that this was the first time we'd been alone together since the day I had her served. She was a mess. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes, hair up in a messy bun with one of those comically gigantic hair clips and dressed in sweats.
Non designers feats.
Walmart sweats.
What will the neighbors think, Emily?
She rushed forward and got me in a hug, and I just stood there with my hands to my side looking away. After she got it out of her system, she told me she was cleaning house and getting rid of everything he touched. Get rid of yourself, Emily. She said she was trying to make things right. I told her domestic terrorism is not going to get me into reconciliation. She asked me what she could do, and she'd do anything. I told her that it's not fair for her to deliberately smash our marriage into pieces and then expect me to fix it, and that I couldn't even if I wanted to. I told her that she sacrificed our marriage for her business and that it would be a slap in the face to me personally if she let it go belly up, so she needs to go back to work. I don't know if that registered with her. I really hope it did. She kept apologizing and pleading and asking me to give her a chance and that I won't have to do anything. She'll fix our marriage and she'll do all the work necessary. I was giving her non-committal answers like, sounds good, we'll see, and I don't know about that, to keep her from doing anything else crazy then.
I'm fucking full up on crazy now.
FIL and MIL arrived and we all had a nice chat about fire safety. Apparently, FIL had found the credit card records and asked MIL about it, and MIL came clean. MIL and FIL had a big fight and now the three of them are avoiding each other. Not my dumpster.
Not my fire.
I told Emily she could help make amends through helping the woman whose marriage she destroyed by writing that affidavit. She said she would. FIL told me he would pay for the grill and any cleanup. I'm thinking goddamn right you will. But I thanked him for his generosity. A police officer showed up and he and his partner took a look around. He told me that the grill was pretty much a goner, you think? And that we needed to break up our little terrorist cell for the evening. Emily and her parents went home while she was swearing to make it all right. I just told her not to burn anything else please and to go back to work. Fortunately, the poison gas from the grill didn't hit the house. I hosed down everything because the police officer told me that the fire extinguisher chemicals were corrosive. Really? WTF? I grabbed the rest of Emily's stuff from the backyard and drove it to a thrift store after hours donation box and dumped it all in. So if you see a homeless woman with a Prada bag dressed in a garter belt and stockings, you're welcome. The other notable thing that happened is that my lawyer says that Emily's business is doing pretty well. She started turning a significant profit last August and September, so Emily can now afford all the psychiatric medicine she can stuff in her mouth. I didn't expect to be updating so soon, but I also didn't expect Emily to torture Lacey Sins like some kind of dollar store media either, so here we are. Edit. I went out with Matt and Jim on Friday. We did a little pre-gaming at Matt's place and Matt's wife made adjustments to my wardrobe before allowing me to leave. I turned off my phone and gave it to her and told her to hide it from me until tomorrow morning. We went to a place that played EDM but still had ESPN on mute playing in the background, so I don't know if it was considered a club or a bar. I'm leaning towards club because the bartender looked grateful to us when we ordered bourbon and beer rather than some neon-colored potion. I don't know if we were just on an off night, but there were way more women than men there. Is that a thing? A cute girl who looked to be in her mid-20s came up to me and asked me if I was from Nashville. I said no, and she said I looked like a guy she met at a conference in Nashville who was an architect. I joked that the only thing I can architect is my own destruction. I told her I was a developer.
This software kind not real estate kind and shilaugued.
She asked about it, and I gave her the elevator pitch. We had a nice chat, and she asked for my phone, and I said I didn't bring it because I wasn't allowed around a phone for 24 hours because of the aforementioned self-destruction. She wrote her phone number on a napkin and gave it to me when her girlfriends told her they were leaving. I kind of didn't know what to do. I felt bad for taking it. I have no intention of calling it. A pretty girl talked to me, and I made her laugh though.
Let's walk before we run.
I met a couple from my new gym who were there. I had talked to the guy briefly before, and we had more of a head nod acknowledgement relationship. I met him and his girlfriend formally, and we talked some shit about the regulars. His girlfriend was a little handsy with me, which made me uncomfortable. She was touching my upper arms, and she put her hand on my chest to emphasize a point. I was looking at her BF, and he didn't seem to notice, or if he did, he didn't say anything. Kind of put me off. Maybe she's just a touchy person. I told Matt and Jim I wanted to get the hell out of there, and we ended up going to the dive bar we went to before. I sort of lost track of events after that and woke up on Matt's couch. His wife, still pregnant, about 5 months, gave me some Advil, water, and my phone. She told me that Emily had been going on an apology tour and has come clean about the affair. I asked Matt's wife what Emily was telling people, and Matt's wife just said that Emily admitted to having an extended affair with an older man, nothing about the whole sugar baby thing, and regretted it every day, and that I was moving ahead with a divorce and she had no right to expect reconciliation, but that she still wanted it and wanted everyone to pray that we would find our way back together. I guess she found Jesus. My guess is that Jesus didn't see her coming first and was unable to avoid her. Matt's wife said that Emily said she had an appointment to see a psychiatrist, thank God, and had bought a bunch of books about infidelity. I verified this with Emily's mom, and they do have a psychiatrist appointment, and that Emily is planning on doing the long-ass commute every day to her salon starting Monday, and that she did in fact get a bunch of audiobooks about marriage and infidelity that her Christian counselor recommended. I didn't ask which ones. MIL says Emily seems to be focused and no longer is just sitting around crying all day, so I suppose that's a good thing. I'm glad that she seems to be pulling out of whatever depression she was in, but I'd hate for her to have false hope. MIL says that Emily has taken over getting a divorce lawyer and that negotiations should start again very soon.
That's all we have for now. Boring update, you know.
I guess I'm just journaling at this point. Edit 2. MIL says Emily found, and is paying for, a new attorney. She confirmed that Emily is reading How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair, Surviving Infidelity, Making Decisions, Recovering from the Pain, Torn Asunder, Recovering from an Extramarital Affair, and Not Just Friends. Emily is attending Sunday and Wednesday services. Emily confessed to the affair with family and friends as far as it not being a coerced thing. She says it was a willful affair, but not that she was a sugar baby. She's painting it as a typical affair type thing, for lack of a better term. I had Jim and his wife do me a favor and go through my old house and remove all pictures of Emily and I and some other things and box them up and take them to Emily's house. That triggered her into a long barrage of texts like, why would I ever want to not have pictures of us together? Like it doesn't hurt like hell for me to see it. Am I punishing her? Just to be clear, the only thing I talk about myself in my communications with MIL is just general stuff as to how I'm doing and what I'm doing. I don't talk about how I feel about Emily or make moral judgments. Well, makes plenty of moral judgments these days for the both of us. Honestly, MIL does most of the talking, which is fine. I miss hearing her voice sometimes. She's basically throwing herself into being a crazy plant lady, and crazy plant ladies know that April is a busy time of year for doing crazy plant lady things. We'll update once we arrange another lawyer versus lawyer fight, hopefully with minimal amounts of vomit. Update 11. The owner of the Airbnb has started having furniture delivered. I have pushed it around and set it up in places. In some cases, I put it together. In the living area, I set up a huge TV and then set the coffee table in front of it, 2 armchairs behind the coffee table, and the couch behind the 2 armchairs. The interior decorator the owner hired came in and laughed at me and told me it looked like Star Trek. I impressed her with feats of strength moving around furniture and hanging pictures and shelves. She offered me a job. At the end of it all, I asked if she was flirting with me, because I'm stupid like that. And she said, yes, and gave me her card. I called up my lawyer and she called me back eventually, and I asked her about maybe going out on a date with someone, and she metaphorically dope slapped me upside my head and told me that no, I couldn't go commit adultery with anyone during my at-fault divorce for adultery. Oh well. But, man, she was this beautiful Indian girl with delicate features and a posh British accent. She looked like a Bollywood actress. Oh well. I guess I know that when I'm single I'll at least get asked to the prom. It is prom season now, after all. I guess that's why I'm so giddy while writing this. I unblocked Bev's husband and messaged him. I met up with him for coffee. Or what I assumed would be coffee. This man ordered an iced matcha latte like we were on a TikTok date. He's a little older than I am. He works construction and is built like a pro football lineman, despite his beverage choices. We're only acquainted with each other due to our wives, so after some talk about surface level stuff, I asked him how he's doing with Bev. He said he thought something was up because he would see her texting and laughing. He thought she might be having an emotional affair because she's always at home with their toddler. She's not conventionally attractive, being around 100 pounds overweight, but her husband likes it that way. He was dreading confronting her about it, but after getting my text he did. She confessed to it and basically living vicariously through it because Emily was talking about their fancy dates, Emily's spa trips, hotel room service, John taking her to boutiques that don't have price tags on their items, cause if you have to ask. Every time Emily would cry and feel guilty, Bev admitted to encouraging her to have one last big fling of fun before settling down and becoming a, mostly, some like her and telling her I'd divorce her if I found out. She's dead on right about that one. She deserved this. Blah blah blah. Basically being an enemy of our marriage. Bev's husband rightfully figured that if Bev could do this, she could cheat on him. He told Bev he was divorcing her. But Bev put on the full court press, deleting her social media, blocking Emily, and swearing never to talk to her again. Full access to phone, computer, etc. She booked therapy for them and paid for it by starting to work part-time again. She's a nail tech. Those people can make money hand over fist. Y'all, you have no idea.
Bel's husband consulta an attorney. $400.
Ouch. And was basically told that he would lose a lot of money and she would probably get majority custody because what she did didn't constitute adultery or infidelity, so it'd be a no-fault divorce. Since her only infraction was having my wife be her favorite reality TV show, Bev's husband decided to stay and work on the marriage because he didn't want to lose access to his son. He showed me pictures and videos of the kid, and let me tell you, I don't know anything about toddlers, but that is one cute kid, so I understand. He said that Emily and Bev have not been in contact, and Bev has deleted most of her social media and has a Facebook account with only her family, mom, dad, siblings, in-laws, on it. He said he doesn't trust her as much anymore and they're working on it. He said that he respected me, but he wouldn't be able to respect himself and stay with a wife who did what mine did, especially if there were no kids involved. Thanks for the advice, buddy. We got an offer from Emily's new attorney. Emily wanted another face-to-face meeting, but I declined. Let's just rapid-fire our crap at each other and get this over with, Emily. I've had enough of her high-end hooker identity crisis. Here it is. If Emily cheats again, emotionally, physically, digitally, or if she even thinks about sexting someone who uses cologne from Italy, I get 75% of our liquid assets and half of her business profits for the past 3 years prior to the adultery, not exceeding $100,000. In all seriousness, there was a full legal dry boring definition of infidelity.
IF cheia. Ites anufal divórcio and o split é verifiap 50-50.
No alimony either way. She'll pay for my attorney, and hers, out of her business profits and reimburse the $10,000 emergency fund. Post-nup becomes void if we stay together for 10 years without infidelity, which feels ambitious considering the first 10 years included the erotic Saks Fifth Avenue rewards program. If voided, both parties waive future claims to assets or alimony tied to this agreement. Emily agrees to full financial disclosure, including bank statements, business financials, credit reports, and any business relationships with men named John, or Jean. Anyone named John Johnson or Jean Valjean invokes a double indemnity. Kidding. All financial disclosures will be kept with my lawyer or some other third party of my choice. Total mutual access to all electronic devices with no prior notice for 7 years. Any hidden or burner devices invoke the infidelity clause, followed by a dry description of undisclosed devices. If we do divorce after this agreement, she waives all rights to spousal support unless I die tragically while doing something heroic, in which case she's allowed to cry at the funeral, but not speak. Weekly individual and couples counseling, minimum 12 months and paid by her, with a therapist selected by me and approved by the State Bar Association, the Vatican, and my group chat. Capped at $10,000, no contact whatsoever with AP or any of his businesses. If a wedding happens at his venue, she sends one of her stylists instead. Or a goat. Whatever's available. All I have to do in order to exist in this proposed paradise is to stay married to the prettiest hooker in town. My lawyer said it's a good deal and she doesn't know a judge that wouldn't enforce it, minus my sass, of course. She said if I was at all hesitant about not staying in the marriage, it's one of the best post-nups she's seen as far as judicial enforceability goes. Of course, any judge has a lot of latitude, but she said she couldn't see any judge throwing it out of court and she knows most of the judges around our area. Just to be clear, I rejected it. I told my lawyer that the bottom line is these are my non-negotiables. She has to agree to an at-fault adultery divorce on the record. No alimony. I keep my 401k. I would prefer for her to pay my attorney fees. Everything else is negotiable. As far as everything outside of lawyer cage match goes, Lisa is still divorcing John. Emily gave over her affidavit, which helped, and she additionally offered to testify if needed. John's penis must feel very depressed because the women he fucks really seem to savagely turn on him. Attend to her needs first. Sometimes, Johnny boy.
Kegels. John. Do Sammy Kegels.
They help. John's kids don't want to go visit him, and he's trying to spin it that Lisa is deliberately alienating them. If telling the truth is alienating, then I guess she's guilty. Lisa is encouraging them to have a relationship with their father because, outside of him playing Johnny Appleseed with his semen, he's been a good, supportive and attentive dad, attending their events and helping them with their studies, etc. I'm not going into the details of what she's asking for, but let's say that if she gets what she's asking for, and I'm pretty sure she will, I'm very interested in offering my services as a sugar baby myself.
Vá te ver a male sugar babies.
I'm not up on all the whore lingo. Emily met me at my business and gave me more groceries, baked goods, and casseroles because casserole is her love language. Emily was there but sat quietly in the back seat. Mil told me that she let her come along just to see me, and that if she said anything or got out of the car, she would lose all emotional support from her family. I was wearing my Wrangler slacks and a black t-shirt.
Drink tea. Emily.
I was pissed at first, but ultimately grateful because my stomach didn't hurt as much seeing her. I think I'm getting over it all. Mil and Phil are talking again, as predicted. They're both very disappointed and embarrassed at Emily's behavior. Matt told me that his wife wanted squid sushi and a can of black olives, so the pregnancy is going strong. Bob is starting to call off our D&D sessions in favor of hanging out with his special lady friend, which is unacceptable. I'm going to use an AI video generator to make a video of her cheating on Bob so things get back to normal. Jim is killing it at life. What with his pretty wife who doesn't fuck other dudes and his job and planned trip to Europe this fall. My lawyer told me that if I want to expedite things, I should abandon my no-contact policy and hand-write Emily a letter explaining in detail why reconciliation is off the table. I think I'll have to do that. I'll update in a couple of days with what I propose to send her. Final update. I can't decide which way to go in my letters to Emily. I decided to write 3 different approaches: coldly logical, raw emotion, and dismissive and insulting. Coldly logical. Emily, my lawyer has advised that I write to you explaining, in clear terms, why reconciliation is not possible. After considerable thought, I've decided to approach this from a logical perspective rather than an emotional one. Let's start with a definition. Love, noun, a complex set of emotions, behaviors, and beliefs associated with strong feelings of affection, protectiveness, warmth, and respect for another person. Love involves caring for another person's well-being, prioritizing their needs, maintaining their trust, and being honest with them even when it's difficult. Looking at the evidence objectively, I need to assess whether your actions over the past year demonstrate love as defined above. Consider the following: trust and honesty. You maintained a secret relationship with John for approximately 9 months. You consistently lied about your whereabouts when directly questioned on New Year's Eve. You denied any infidelity even after discovery. Your account of events changed multiple times. Coercion narrative, business mentorship narrative, etc. You only disclosed information when faced with evidence prioritizing partners' well-being. You risked my sexual health by being intimate with both John and me. You diverted resources from our marriage. Time, energy, and attention. You shared intimate details of our marriage with Bev. You damaged our shared property and put others in danger by burning your possessions. Respect for partner. You came home after being with John and were intimate with me. You allowed John to finance aspects of our marriage. You portrayed a false version of our relationship to others when analyzed objectively. These behaviors demonstrate a fundamental incompatibility with the definition of love. This isn't about moral judgment or punishment. It's about recognizing a factual misalignment between your actions and the definition of love. Your recent actions, such as therapy, church attendance, and your proposed postnuptial agreement, suggest you're experiencing guilt, shame, and fear of loss. These are understandable human emotions, but they're distinct from love. The postnuptial agreement you proposed focuses on controlling future behavior rather than addressing the fundamental question of whether you genuinely love me as defined above. I believe you care about me and wish to maintain our relationship. But caring about someone, even deeply, isn't the same as loving them in the complete sense of the word. Your actions reveal a prioritization pattern where your desires, needs, and comfort consistently rank higher than my well-being, dignity, and trust. The logical conclusion is that you do not love me according to the definition of love. You may believe you do, but the empirical evidence contradicts this belief. This isn't your fault.
We can't control who we love.
It would be unreasonable of me to expect you to manufacture love where it doesn't naturally exist. The rational solution is for both of us to move forward separately. 1. You deserve to find someone you truly love. Someone whose well-being, trust, and dignity you naturally prioritize without requiring contractual obligations or monitoring. 2. I deserve to find someone who loves me in the complete sense of the word. Someone whose actions align with their professed feelings. 3. We both deserve relationships built on genuine love rather than obligation, guilt, or fear. I'm proceeding with the divorce for these reasons. It's not a punishment or an act of revenge. It's the logical outcome of the situation we find ourselves in. The terms I've communicated through my lawyer remain my position.
I wish you well in your journey forward.
I hope you find happiness and growth, and that you discover what genuine love means for you. We had good years together that I'll always remember, but we need to acknowledge reality and make decisions based on facts rather than wishful thinking.
Sincerely, OP, PS.
After reviewing this letter, I realize it comes across as cold and clinical. That's not entirely unintentional. It's easier for me to process things logically right now than to dive back into the emotional tornado. But please know that I don't hate you. I just can't pretend that what happened doesn't fundamentally change who we are to each other. End draft letter. Here is what I'm feeling. Emily, I don't even know how to do this.
I don't know how to say goodbye to you.
I keep starting this letter and stopping, because every time I try to write the words, it feels like I'm stabbing myself in the heart all over again.
I loved you so goddamn much.
I loved you with a kind of blind faith that I didn't even know existed. And you knew that.
You knew it. And you still chose to hurt me.
You didn't just cheat on me, Emily. You ended me.
You shattered something in me that don't know if can ever fix.
You made me feel small and worthless in a way I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I can't even look in the mirror without seeing the fucking asshole you made out of me. I was proud to love you.
Proud to be your husband.
Proud of the life we were building.
And now when think of our life together, it feels like rotting wood under my hands.
Like something hollowed out and dead that I still try to lean on out of instinct. I hate that part of me still wants to believe this nightmare isn't real. But it is. It's so real it feels like it's crushing my chest every time I breathe.
I'm not the man you married anymore.
And I'm not the man you want to reconcile with, either. He's gone, Emily. You killed him the second you decided someone else's attention, someone else's money, someone else's arms were worth more than my heart. I can't come back from this. I can't pretend that it didn't happen. I can't lie to myself just to make you feel better.
You're not my home anymore.
You're not my safe place.
You are not a person to me anymore.
You are a shitty traumatic event that I have to survive. God, Emily, I would have given you anything. I would have burned the whole world down if you asked me to. And you threw me away like it meant nothing.
Maybe someday you will understand what you did.
Maybe someday it'll hit you like a truck when you're standing in an empty house or staring at yourself in the mirror. Maybe someday you'll realize that you didn't just lose a husband. You lost someone who loved you so deeply that he never once doubted you until you forced him to.
E quem te do diz animore?
I have to let you go, even if it kills me. Even if I feel like I'm ripping out my own heart. Even if I never really heal from it. Because you didn't just kill the man you married. You killed the future we were supposed to have.
Goodbye, Emily. I will love you for the rest of my life.
But I can't be with you anymore.
The woman I loved is gone. Oh.
This following is the first letter I wrote. Included last. After I wrote it, I felt I had to write a logical analysis of the situation, which became the first letter I put here. Then, writing the logical letter got me into a dark place and I wrote the second letter. So here's the first letter I wrote when I was still giddy and happy. Emily, congratulations. You managed to kill a marriage that could have survived a zombie apocalypse, 2 hurricanes, and my cooking. Seriously. I would have walked through fire for you. Hell, I would have walked through a Bed Bath & Beyond on a Saturday afternoon for you, and I did.
Remember that?
Would John have done that? Remember when I paid retail for a fucking air fryer from Bed Bath & Beyond? But you know what even I can't survive? Being downgraded from husband to set decoration while you played the lead role in a shitty Netflix rom-com. I know you're sorry.
I know you're desperate.
And I know you'd love to rewind the clock and stop yourself at whatever moment you decided that our marriage needed a supporting cast. But here's the truth. You didn't just make a mistake. You made a lifestyle. You didn't trip and fall into a boutique with no price tags. You chose it.
Again and again.
And while you were busy sipping champagne and pretending you were a pop diva, you didn't notice the man back home trying to figure out why he wasn't enough anymore.
I'm not angry.
You have to care to be angry. I'm just fucking done with this bullshit.
With your bullshit. I know you want to reconcile with the guy you married.
But he's not here anymore. You buried him under a pile of hotel receipts, fake orgasms, and Nordstrom bags.
You don't love me. You love the way I make you feel.
The safety.
The loyalty. The guy who never left, no matter what.
Except, surprise. He finally left. You loved what that guy did, but you didn't give a shit about him personally. Never at one moment did you love this guy. Do not bullshit yourself into thinking that. You're saying that to yourself now out of guilt and not out of love. You're thinking, why couldn't I love this guy? The fact is that you've always only had one soulmate, Emily. Yourself. Certainly not me.
Okay.
You're smart, you're beautiful, you're resourceful, and you can spot a delicious brunch menu from 500 yards away.
Land on your feet.
But not with me.
Take care, Emily.
And when you tell people about us years from now, feel free to lie a little.
Make it a good story.
Lord knows, you're good at making up bullshit. Goodbye. P.S. The air fryer is non-negotiable. Seriously.
I'll fight you.
I'm leaning towards coldly logical. I'm pretty sure I'm sending this one. Emily, my attorney advised me to write down why reconciliation isn't possible. I've put it off not because I'm unsure, but because it's difficult to describe what you've done to me in a way that might actually register with you. But I'll try now, with as much clarity and control as I can manage.
Let's begin with something simple. A definition.
Love, noun, a commitment to another person's well-being, trust, and dignity above your own convenience, indulgence, and self-gratification. It includes honesty, protection, loyalty, and the refusal to willfully inflict harm, especially on someone who loves you. Now let's examine the evidence. For nearly a year, you conducted a sexual relationship behind my back. You didn't confess because you were overwhelmed by guilt.
You confessed because you got caught.
Even then, your story changed over and over until the facts cornered you. First it was an emotional affair, then a mentorship, then coercion, then he wouldn't let me go.
You are never honest.
You were just reactive. When I confronted you on New Year's Eve, you couldn't even tell me the truth then. I knew the truth and you still tried to make me feel guilty and paranoid. And here's something I need to say directly, because you've danced around it in every version you've given. You performed oral sex on another man and then came home and kissed me right afterwards. Do you understand what that did to me? Because I think you need to. That wasn't just betrayal. That was defilement. That was degrading. That was a level of violation I didn't know was possible inside a marriage. You brought the taste of another man's body into our home and into my fucking mouth. You let him into my bed by proxy and into my mouth, without my knowledge or consent.
There is no therapy, no contract, no prayer that can erase that. I don't think my words can adequately communicate to you how disgusted and sickened I am by this. Remember how you noticed I was losing weight towards the end of our time together? Remember how you were admiring how defined my muscles were? That wasn't working out. That was starvation and dehydration. That was not being able to keep food or water down because I thought about it all the time and it made me throw up.
Ende den u antitotel me u love me. U antito reconcile.
You want to go back to what we were. Here's the problem, Emily. That man no longer exists.
The man who loved you, trusted you, and thought you are incapable of something like this is just fucking gone.
You killed him. Slowly. Repeatedly. And with a smile on your face.
And the person asking for reconciliation now?
You're not talking to the same husband. You're talking to someone else. You're talking to someone who will never again see you the way he once did. Someone who wakes up sick when he remembers how deep the lies went. Someone who has to remind himself to breathe when he thinks about where your mouth was before you kissed him.
You say you want to earn back my trust.
That's not something you can earn back from a ghost. So I'll give you the only thing that's left. Truth. You are not owed reconciliation. You are not owed negotiation. You are not even owed the benefit of the doubt. You are owed fairness, and I've already extended more of that than your actions warrant. If you have any respect left for me, if you have any genuine remorse, you'll stop prolonging this shitshow. I'm going to send you my best offer.
Do you want to convince me of your remorse?
Then tack on some more terms that are favorable to me and have no possible benefit to you.
Put your money where your mouth is. On what you did.
Accept the consequences without twisting this into something mutual or negotiable. You didn't just cheat.
You desecrated something sacred.
You dismantled a man and burned the wreckage.
And now you want to bargain with the ashes.
Don't. Let this end with whatever grace is still possible. Go and find someone you love and respect, and I will do the same. Edit 1. I got my lawyer to look over the letter. She approved it. I hand-wrote it on paper and then had a courier deliver it to Emily's parents' house yesterday with delivery confirmation. She's got it and it's been radio silent except for email texting me that Emily got my letter and is crying her eyes out. Edit 2. We have sent our divorce terms to Emily and her lawyer. They are pretty much the same thing we said before. No spousal support. We keep our respective retirement funds. Other joint accounts are split 50-50. This one hurts. We have investment accounts, but my lawyer and I conceded this to expedite matters. It's an at-fault adultery divorce. $10,000 reimbursement of our emergency fund. $15,000 half of the credit card charges for fraud. Or whatever the lawyer said. I have to go back and reread the technical stuff. I give up all claims to half of her business. Even though it's an LLC, we consistently used marital funds and of course the stolen emergency fund, which was joint funds, to fund her business. She gives up all claims to my dad's home. There's some other stuff regarding joint marital property in our home. Throw pillows, people.
Vos gonna get the throw pillows?
Won't someone think about the throw pillows? The trash can with my watery puke in it is off the table. She missed that opportunity.
You sonose. You lose.
So a bunch of people are saying that this is fake because a lawyer would never let you write a breakup letter to the person you're divorcing. First, Emily has delayed all negotiations consistently by refusing to acknowledge divorce. She consistently rebutted our attempts to settle this by replying with some kind of reconciliation plan. I have had no meaningful conversations with Emily since I served her divorce papers. I talk a lot of shit about her on here behind her back because it's a release valve for me. But I have said nothing of substance to her other than what I said when I confronted her when she was making a burnt offering to the fashion gods. I'm no lawyer. Maybe my lawyer sucks. But this is how it was explained to me, TLDR. My lawyer said the letter stops Emily's reconciliation BS and speeds up the divorce by showing I'm fucking done. After having a bunch of people tell me that a lawyer would never advise me to write a letter to my STBXW, I was concerned myself like why would she want me to break no contact? I'm basically summing up what my lawyer sent back, with some edits to keep me from doxing myself. In the state I live in, clear communication of intent, such as no reconciliation, can streamline negotiations by setting boundaries. A formal letter, sent via courier,
serves as evidence of my position, reducing ambiguity in court or mediation. Divorce lawyers, at least in my state, often recommend written statements to clarify a client's stance, especially when the other spouse's actions, such as Emily's workplace visits, constant texts, offers of reconciliation all the time, suggest denial or manipulation. The letter acts as a legal marker, showing my consistent refusal to reconcile, which courts respect in fault-based cases. This also preempts Emily's attempts to further delay by offering reconciliation terms, forcing her to focus on settlement. Emily's adultery gives me leverage in equitable distribution. The letter reinforces her fault by detailing her betrayal and pressuring her to concede terms to avoid a public trial where her actions would be scrutinized. Also, Emily's lawyer is collaborating with her therapist to address emotional barriers to settlement and has been vocal about it with my lawyer. My lawyer saw the letter as a way to satisfy Emily's therapy-driven need for closure while advancing my legal goals. While not standard in every divorce, letters outlining non-reconciliation are used in cases with persistent reconciliation attempts or emotional volatility.
You know, like burning all your shit in your backyard.
Family law attorneys in the state I live in advise clients to document their stance to avoid he said she said disputes in court. Lawyers tailor strategies to the case's dynamics, and a letter fits Emily's persistent reconciliation pushes. Non-lawyer types may assume divorce communication are purely formal, not realizing lawyers use creative tools such as letters and emails to manage negotiations, especially in fault-based cases with emotional stakes. The bottom line is that my lawyer thought it was a good idea and it would save us both lawyer fees in the long run if I made everything crystal clear. Otherwise, it's just legal pickleball with her serving reconciliation attempts over the net and me shouting, "Fucking oh," and grand slamming them out of the court into orbit.
Over and over.
Lawyers' fees racking up and up.